Thanks everybody for joining. My name is Martine Zardniak. I am the owner of Wedding MD and a wedding planner. As a wedding planner, my goal for all of my clients is really just to ensure that they have a lovely, beautiful, fun, fantastic day. I hear from a lot of people after the weddings that it really was necessary to have a wedding planner, but they didn't think so at the time. And so I'm trying to prevent the regret, right? Like make sure that you can kick back and enjoy and that your friends and family can do the same thing. So today, part of what I wanted to do is answer some frequently asked wedding questions that we get. Another part of my job is really just to ensure that I connect all of my couples with the right vendors. And so today we have Miranda Suess from Suess Moments, and we will also have Edith from Glamurosa Event and Floral Design. We're going to start with Miranda, as I mentioned earlier, just because limitations. We can't have all three of us on at the same time, which was really the goal, but we'll do the best that we can. And so right now we're going to go ahead and get started with Miranda. Miranda, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Well, I am Miranda Suess, cat mom, the girl with the red hair that loves Disney stuff. So basically, I work with couples mainly and do their weddings, engagement photo shoots, and then all other milestones that come up in their lives. So like new families, babies, the holiday events, and so on. So usually, my branding basically is that I prep, guide, and capture moments. So that means I prepare my couples before photo shoots happen so they know what to expect and they don't go in blind or they wish they knew something. I got all the guides for them to make sure that they're super prepared. And then I guide them during the session because a lot of people come to me because they're like, oh, we don't want to feel awkward in our photos, or we don't want to look too posy. That's usually the concern. And what I do is just make sure that they feel super comfortable. They're having a good time. I'll bring my boombox to give the good energy. I'll have them do role-playing scenarios, and they're just having a good time and laughing, and I'm just capturing those moments candidly. And if you look at my portfolio, it's just basically just all emotion, because basically at the end of the day, it's really important that when they look at their photos, they can feel that feeling again. It comes back for them, or that exact memory, for example. So that's why I do what I do, and I love what I do, and that's why I'm here today, I guess.
Well, I think that's really important because one of the things that gets kind of hard is that, weddings go by in a flash. Like it's so quick and you've spent all this time planning and trying to get to it, but it goes by so quick. Part of having a great photographer on hand and why I love working with you is because it's a fun day. You can have a great time and those memories will come back to you when you get those pictures. One of the questions that I get a lot, though, honestly, is how long does it actually take to get those wedding pictures back after the wedding day is over?
So I always tell my couples that it's going to take up to 6 weeks at the most, but I have never done that before. It's always been like around the 1 to 4 week mark, just depending on how busy I am or if I have life stuff going on. It could take a little bit longer than normal, but they always get sneak peeks right after their wedding day. Usually it's within the same day. Sometimes I'll just work all night and just send them, or it could take up to 2 days. And they get sneak peeks, and they'll get anything from like 10 to 30 images, so that they have something instantly to share on social media and announce to the world that we're married and something to love. And in the meantime, I just go and retouch all the rest of their images in their gallery, and they should get it before the 6 week mark.
Very nice. Very good. Thanks for explaining that one. Another question that I get often is, honestly, truly, how much time do you need in a wedding day to take the wedding photos?
Yeah, that's a really good question because, like you make timelines and everything for wedding days. I work on a timeline when it comes to photography portions. And usually when a client comes to me, it's their beginning phases. They either already have a planner or they don't. And they assume that they're going to only need like 6 hours of photography, but they don't realize that on their wedding day, as much as they want to be budget friendly, maybe, is that they don't want to rush on their wedding day. Sometimes, if they want their getting ready moments with their bridal party, first look with their parents, getting dressed, things like that, those special moments, it takes time. It's not because it's not like I want to rush any of my couples on their wedding day. They only have to do it once. So I tell my couples I have two packages that I offer, and it's 8.5 hours is the minimum. And that includes if they want getting ready moments leading up to part of the reception, like an hour or two into the reception. Or they can go into the 10-hour collection, which is going to get them more time with two photographers. So one photographer is with the groom, or if they're marrying a same-sex bride, that is happening then, and I'm with the bride or whoever the groom is, just depending. So it takes like 10 hours for that,
Got it.
for a full day. Yeah.
Got it. And 10 hours really is what I've seen is one of those things that it really is kind of necessary if you
Mhm.
want the full breadth of pictures from the entire day.
Yeah.
But definitely important to keep in mind. There's a lot more happening than just the actual ceremony, and you definitely want to make time for all of those pictures. So thanks for answering that one too. Do
Yeah, of
you
course.
do you kind of work off of a shot list, or how do you decide like which pictures you're going to take in all that time?
Yeah, so it's really important that I get really clear communication with my couples. So within 2 months before their wedding day, I send a really deep dive questionnaire. I tell my couples, grab a glass of wine or a beer and answer this questionnaire together. So they're sitting side by side answering it. And it really gets deep into detail on what they want captured. There's even photos on there as examples, or maybe the bride wants detail shots of her dress or something in front of a window or something like that, very like Vogue couture inspired kind of photos. And then the groom might want just like photos with his groomsmen taking shots or something like that. So these are things like couples don't really think about, but I put it in the questionnaire and they're tapping on every kind of photo that they want. And so I bring that shot list with me on the wedding day. Oh, and also I have my couples go on Pinterest and Instagram and pick like their favorites on there and send me those screenshots. So I even have that included on the printout to bring with me on the wedding day. So I know it's clear this is what they want. If there's specific people that they want pictures with that are important to them, it's on that list. I won't miss it. And then, of course, every single happy, joyful, tear crying, jerking kind of moment, I'm getting that captured as well, very candidly, because most of the time people just really want candid photos at the end of the day.
Right, right. We want to capture it as natural as possible. I
Yeah.
think that's important too. But yes, definitely important to also have an idea of what you want. So thanks for explaining that, because I think a lot of people do think that we're just going to go and the photographer will do what they do and we don't really need to worry about it. But if there are pictures that you want, you definitely want to mention that so that, it's top of mind. So that's really
Exactly.
important. I can totally see that. And as I'm planning, I will tell you there are many times where I've run into somebody who they think that once they've kind of booked all their vendors, they're done, with the planning piece of what's going to happen. And they don't realize that there's going to be more questions from your vendors to make sure that the day is what you want it to be and how you need it to
Yeah.
go. So it's really important.
Exactly. So I have some questions for you, Martine. If
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
absolutely.
awesome. So basically, I'm not in a wedding planner at all, but I always am curious because I hear planner, I hear coordinator, I
Yeah.
hear, all these managers, things like that. So what do you like? What are those, and what do you identify with?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the times with any industry, there's industry lingo that kind of sits inside, and people speak of it inside the industry in a particular way, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything to those outside of the industry. And so when you hear coordinator, it all sounds like the same thing if you're not
Mm-hmm.
inside the industry, but there are actually different levels of coordination. So venue coordinator is one that comes up often. Your venue may have somebody on site that is there for the venue, that is responsible for things related to the venue specifically. That person might be available on site to you, but they're not necessarily going to work with your other vendors, your other wedding vendors, if it doesn't have anything to do directly with it, working inside of the venue particularly. For me, because I don't work for a venue, there you can also hear the words a month of coordination. You can hear day of coordination. You can hear wedding management. Those three are sort of the same thing. One thing to keep in mind is it's impossible to plan efficiently and effectively if you are only showing up on the day of an event. It's not possible, right? You can't plan if we don't know what's going on. So I need details before showing up in order to manage that day well for my couples. And so we
Mm-hmm.
sit down and we talk about it at least a couple of months before. Even better is once you know that you're looking for a coordinator, once you've got them booked, send me the information that you're collecting, right? Send me your vendor list, send me information about what they're expecting from you and what they've promised to you on the day out, so that way I can manage it more effectively for you if I have all those details. I'm still going to call all of the vendors. I'm still going to work with them to get those details, but it's helpful for me to see what was happening beforehand if I'm going to manage your wedding. So wedding
Mm-hmm.
management kind of sticks to me as the thing that's really what's happening, because I think month of or day of doesn't necessarily give you the right timeline for what's actually expected to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the other thing. Then there's full planning, where this is where I'm helping you actually plan the entire event. I will source all the vendors for you. You don't have to do any of that work. I will make sure that we get questions answered and you interact, yes, with your other vendors, but primarily with me as I work with them. I definitely think it's important to know all of your vendors. And so there is some level at which you should connect with every vendor that's going to be there with you all day, because it's important just to feel comfortable and know that everybody around you is on the same wavelength about what you're doing. But part of what I'm doing is making sure that when I source those vendors for you, that I'm looking for people that match you and your style and will be good for you on your day. So a lot of it, again, I guess, is industry lingo, but ultimately the most important part is to speak to your wedding vendor and understand exactly what it is that they're giving you. I think sometimes people don't know the right questions to ask. And so this is why I wanted to do this and just kind of get people the right questions to ask and make sure that they understand what they're getting into before they get there.
Yeah. I just want to point out before we like open this for people to ask questions if they have any. I want people to know that I've worked with you on so many like styled shoots, which you look at me as an actual client. Like that's how you view me. So you treat me like one. You'll send me options if there's any hiccups with, a venue like isn't available or something like that. You're really, really good at like finding other options and coming up with creative like ways to fix problems. Like I know we're on the Capable Bride, but you're also Wedding MD, so you are like the Band-Aid if there's any issues on the wedding day. And this is why I continue to work with you, because I know I can trust you when it comes to, if I have an idea and I throw it at you, you're going to come back and you're going to be straight up with me like, hey, this is not going to work, but this could work.
Right.
And that's what I love about you. And that's why I highly recommend you to everyone I talk to that's looking for a planner or coordinator.
Thanks, Miranda. I really appreciate that. I'm always happy to help. And that's what I do, is trying to come up with solutions to those last minute problems. So it's always a pleasure. Well,
Yes.
Miranda, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to try and get Edith on now, so I appreciate it. As you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in. If we don't answer them on this chat, we'll definitely get back to you as well afterwards.
I can't wait to watch Edith. All right.
Bye.
Bye.